What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. And listen, if there's a reason why, I'm usually upfront. If there's a personal reason, as in needed a break or something like that, there's just nothing going on. There was nothing going on. So as much as I as much as I would love to have come on in the days that we've had in between the last stream and this one now, I just can't do it to you. I'll be here, hey, hey everyone, how's the weather in your end? How's the weather where you are? Is it good? And that's just not fun for anyone, is it? So I thought I'd come back today. We've got a bit of news in terms of players coming back for preseason, questionable choices of pictures being used on social media, as someone's already said. And yeah, we've got a goalkeeper linked, which is pretty good news as well. As always, hit the like on the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and drop your comments on the video afterwards. Shout out to Mr. P, Karen Curtin, and Teo from I think he's from Singapore for the super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated for the support as always. How is everyone? Yeah, Bubs. Hey, listen, Bubs. I know. You know what? And you know what? Wilson's my guy. Wilson is my guy. I see him at the games, and we talk for quite a long time before games start. But I don't know if he's being held, if he's been held prisoner. He's under instruction to tweet out those pictures. But hey, they weren't given what they were supposed to be given. I don't know about anyone else, but it just made me think of mediocrity. Shout out to everyone here. Michelle over in Canada. Hello over there, KG in chat. Flipping heck. Now, hey, listen, you know what it is? Jack Leeds operators as quickly as Click and Bamford. It's insane, man. It's absolutely insane. The amount of time it's taken. Now, listen, I've already heard about the Kieran Maguire article. To me, Kieran Maguire is good at doing the things like when accounts come out, he's usually good at doing those where he scrutinizes the accounts. I believe all that. But when it comes to, I think that's just an opinion piece of him saying that it could be down to the 49ers. For me, this is pure EFL delay. Phil Hayes' article today, I can't bring it up because it's, under the Athletic paywall. But he said as much that Leeds United are just waiting to announce Farke and could do it once they get more of a green light. And that's something that I said in previous video. I think that it's going to be one of those things where we announce it and probably put the pressure more on the EFL to get this thing done and greenlit. It's tedious waiting for Leeds to do business. Yeah, it is. And I just want to say as well, in terms of Leicester's business, because I know I see a lot of people talk about Leicester, and I've done it on here talking about Connor Cody and stuff. But Harry Winks and Connor Cody, to me, they don't move me as in like, oh my God, Leicester are going so clear. But what Leicester are doing is they're able to get their business done. And listen, there's more Connor Cody's. There's definitely more Harry Winkses out there. Oh my Lord. We've got Harry Winks here. Well, actually, he's not here, but he will be back in training, won't he, in Foreshore. Those things don't move me, but what does move me is that other teams are doing business, other teams are getting stuff done. They've managed to sell Madison now, which means they've got the Madison money to play with as well. That's what we need to be doing. We're hearing all about outgoings. They all seem to be loans. They all seem to be cheap things like that. So we're not able to do the business that we're supposed to, as well as having the manager just waiting in the background. Yeah. DLR fabrication, seen you go live, KG, so I stopped work early. That's it for the day now. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to everyone working the jobs, man. I hear you. I hear you working them jobs. Listen, whatever gets you through the day, and if this helps you, that's a win for me as far as I'm concerned. Chris Clingy, yeah, man, movements move me. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the right ones, though, Chris, the right ones. If we start bringing in more bums to add to the bums we got, that won't move me in the right way. But you know what I mean? But yeah, it would just be nice. Listen, we're on the 3rd of July right now. And I'll be honest, I've said about waiting and being patient, but 3rd of July, this is a bit too late for me. And whether the delay is at the EFL's door or whatever it is, could we have got this done sooner? Maybe, I said before, I don't think the 49ers thought relegation was on the cards. I don't know whether they tried to back out before, the summer started, but this is far too long, especially for the work that needs to be done on this squad. And if you don't believe the work that needs to be done on this squad, people, then you only have to see the pictures of training today. That tells you straight away about just how much work needs to be done. I mean, if this doesn't tell you that you're in a bit of trouble, then I don't know what doesn't tell you. You know what I mean? I don't know what tells you that we're not in trouble. And the fact that this, and as I say, Wilson, you're my guy, so don't take this personally, but the fact that these are the guys that have been chosen as our first training pitchers back in the championship, it speaks volumes for me. It just tells you the stranglehold that some of these players have got on this club, and I just need it to be over, man. I need it to be over and as soon as possible. Um, let's have a look. Bob's saying the comments underneath it's sick of me. Bob's, I'll be honest with you. Listen, Twitter's doing this thing where it's limiting what you can read and stuff like that. I'm using my views wisely, and I'm not going to read the comments underneath because I pretty much know probably Bob's what it's going to be saying there, isn't it? Oh, Lukey, you're going to get us up and everything else like that. But as I've said in the previous video, I think those people think that these guys, both Ailing and of course Coops, yeah. I think they feel like these guys are going to be the same players that got us up before, but they don't have a Bielsa with them. But what were they before Bielsa? Meaty. I mean, Meaty's being very, very fair as well. So these pictures, they didn't move me in the way. I've used the Jorginho Rutter one in my thumbnail because that one gives me hope. That one gives me a bit of hope that if he is to stay here, if he doesn't go back out on loan to Hoffenheim or wherever, then that's an exciting player for me to see in our starting lineup this season, 100%. Graham, those training pictures are so depressing. Yeah, for me too. For me too. I mean, Sam Greenwood's there too, but not too much on Sam Greenwood. You know, he's not one of the main culprits for me. You know, I mean, he's been asked to play out of position so many times over the past couple of years that you know, if Sam Greenwood's here as our one of our, if he's our James Ward-Prowse of the championship, so be it. If he's an option, so be it. But we're talking about here that people see as mainstays of our first 11 for me. That just means that we're possibly missing the playoffs. My thought hasn't changed, by the way, because a few people and shout out to everyone that messaged me on Insta, by the way, when there's no streams, man. I love that. It lets me know it lets me know that you love me a little, you know what I mean? But no, my thought hasn't changed. If we're to keep the bulk of the main squad from last season this year, I think it's going to be very hard for us to hit the playoffs. I genuinely mean that with the players that are rumored to go out in Nanto, Somerville, and all those the main guys. I think it's going to be hard for us to hit the playoffs because these guys are not good football players, and that's essentially what you need in the championship. You need some grit, and as we saw at last season with some of their defending, there's no grit there. So we're gonna be in a bit of trouble. That's why we need to get this thing done, get Farke in, and let's get moving. Let Farke get in his men and his players in. Um, Ali Smith saying here, Sam Greenwood is okay. I don't think he should start, but at least he's decent. Yeah, you know, that's what I'm saying. With Sam Greenwood, he isn't one for me where if he stays, I'm like, oh my days, how we kept Sam Greenwood. He'll be one of those where I think, okay, cool, but please be off the bench. Please be off the bench. No starting 11 for you, mate. But you know what I mean? He doesn't worry me in that way. Listen, you know what? I've said this about the training pictures. Is anyone here, you know, optimistic with what's happening with the training pictures? Does it give you renewed hope? Have you put last season to the rear view mirror and thinking, yes, we're in the championship now. These guys are going to help get us up. Let me know if they move you in the right way. Seriously, all opinions are welcome, as you know. Tasha, Tasha, she's gone the other way. Tasha saying, sorry to say, but with the old guard staying, I can see us battling relegation. The thing is, you know what, Tasha, it's not an outrageous shout to me because you know, I like footballers. You know, there was a question asked on Twitter yesterday by the Touchline Frackers boys about who's the 5 best players that you've seen in your lifetime play for your football club. And my 5, you know, off the top of my dome were Harry Kewell, Lee Bowyer, Rafinha, Rio Ferdinand, and Mark Viduka. It's not a bad 5, is it? But you notice the common theme with all those guys is that they could actually play football. They were good at what they did. And I just don't get that with this squad here. I just don't get the same feeling. I don't get the same love for the players. And it's good. I always say you can separate the two. You don't have to love the players, but when they're crap as well and they play for your football club, it's a double whammy for me. So, I mean, Jamie here as well. Definitely backing us for a bottom half finish. And John Knox follows up, agree with Tasha totally. And you know what the thing is as well, people will call this negative and stuff like that, but it's not negative. when I think people forget just how bad it's amazing what time can do for you, but people forget how bad some of these players were before Bielsa and how bad they have been after Bielsa. I don't know how people are forgetting, but they have. And for me, it's not an outrageous shout. I just think that we're going to possibly miss the top six with what we've got. We don't have a proper striker. Rodrigo's still on looking to get the move. I think he's possibly going Saudi Arabia. That means we're left with that guy up front, and he's becoming one of those where I don't even like saying his name. I don't know. I mean, Charlie here saying, now look at Villa. We was in the same position. Now we're light years behind. The regression in terms of football squad players, we won't catch team like Villa for years. Charlie, this is what I'm saying. I've been living vicariously through other people's signings this week. I've been looking at Villa getting Pau Torres and saying, honestly, people, these are signings that I thought we would be making at this point in our Premier League second time in the Premier League. These are the kind of signings, not exactly like Pau Torres, but like those kind of players. Gvardiol, who's now going to Man City. I thought we would be the stepping stone before he went to Man City, and we did nothing like that. The closest we did was Rafinha. That's as close as we ever got to the kind of signings I envisioned Leeds United making. Instead, we went for the kumbaya, happy-go-lucky bunch that love each other. That don't get you nowhere, people. Villa, I mean, they got Tielemans again. Tielemans, he's good when the going's going good, but when the going's going tough, he does disappear. But that's not a bad sign on a free transfer, is it? Yeah, I mean, we're just so far behind. We really are. Yeah, Charlie, this is what brought it into reality, etc. We're stuck. That's how it feels for me, Charlie. And again, fans don't like to hear it, but the fans are partly responsible for it too. By every time, look, Bob's earlier said about the comments underneath. I haven't read them, but I can imagine what they look like. They don't help by keep on boosting these kind of players up. They just don't help because the social media team, they feed it onto the club. I know this happens. And so the club will think, well, yeah, we'll give Luke Ayling another year instead of letting him go as we should at the end of the season after two half decent performances against Man United. But this is, hey, listen, these are complaints. I mean, the thing is, they're valid from last season because they're hurting us into this season too. But hey, um, Luke L saying, till the manager comes in, all we can do is wait. Yeah, I mean that's all we are doing. It's the 3rd of July, Luke, and that's all we can do. But yeah, those are the training pictures. If they move you, cool. Let me know. Share this tab instead. As I was coming on, they just announced 2 more preseason games for people that want to put those in their diary, as well as the Man United game. There'll be one against Monaco and one against Hearts, which is now the Phil Hay derby. It has to be said. Has to be said. That's the Phil Hay derby. I think Phil may have even arranged that. Scott, it's gone. It's gone, Scott. I'm sorry. You know what? It's funny. Scott mentions this about please take the Cooper picture down. But I've been getting sent one because people know I'm a big fan of Shabazz, and people have been sending me this, and it's like, does my mental health not matter? Do people not care about me? I don't want to see this guy in a Liverpool shirt, man. It's one of those now. You know when you've got a player that you love to watch, and they go to a team that you just don't like. This is what's happened now with Shabazz. So I want to see him do well, but I don't at the same time. You know, one of them. Oh man, I hate being a Leeds fan like this, man. We are so far behind. We ain't signing nobody. Ah. Oh man. Um Scott Lightning, do you think Ailing is going to start over Drama and Cooper over Creswell? It literally is a nightmare if it happens. Scott, it's hold on a minute. Oh man. It's still undecided, isn't it, with Drame if he's even going to stay because he hasn't signed a new contract here and for good reason. But we still don't know if he's going to be moving on to Burnley or Luton or somewhere else. So we don't know. And Creswell as well has been linked with moves away. Which, shockingly, he's been linked with moves away while we're trying to look at Nat Phillips, please. And my opinion, people, has not changed on that Nat Phillips thing. No one can convince me about Nat Phillips. Sorry. Basic baller. And we've got a couple of those meat and potatoes defenders in our ranks already. Play them instead of spending near 10 million on a 26-year-old with less than 60 senior appearances to his name. Drop me out of that one. But yeah, we'll just have to see with that Scott Lightning. Revenite, shout out to you, man. Big Dominic got KG choking on his water. It hurts me, man. You Liverpool fans don't deserve him, man. That's my guy. That's my guy. But no, man, shout out to you guys for getting that, because this is what I was saying to the Coppish boys years ago. They needed players like Shabazz, like the players looking at now, to replace that engine room, because it mirrors Leeds United so much under Bielsa, where the players they can't do it no more. They've used all the energy they've got. They got nothing left in the tank to play that heavy metal way of football. And this is what he's doing. He's got it. He's doing the right thing. I just wish it wasn't this guy, man. It's gonna hurt seeing him score, man. Having to get extra umbrella when a Liverpoolian says it's gonna be mad still. Let's have a look. I mean, Gil saying he's better than Connor Cody. Who's better than Connor Cody, Gil? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. And listen, 100. Let me get this straight. When I mentioned about Connor Cody being the kind of signing for Leicester, I'm not saying Connor Cody is the be all and end all of defenders, but they're moving in the right way of trying to get that caliber of defender. And I don't see any reason why, once Farke's confirmed, why we can't go for our version of Connor Cody, and hopefully better. Now, Gil, Nat Phillips is not better than Connor Cody, man. You know what, Gil? I mean, listen, opinions, of course. There was a compilation made on YouTube. I didn't click on it because I'm not wasting my time. There was a Nat Phillips compilation, Welcome to Leeds. It was 2 minutes long, Gil. It was it was 2 minutes long. And I bet you a minute of it was the turn against Milan at the San Siro. All right. It's 2 minutes. Do you know how crap you've got to be to have a YouTube compilation to your name that's only 2 minutes long? Hey, Kill. I'm sorry, bro. It's just not true. It's just not true. Listen, no matter what you think of Connor Cody, and again, I'm not putting him as the be all and end all defenders. He's got a lot of Premier League experience. He's still, well, he was skirting around the England squad. He was quite reliable there. Come on, there's levels to it. You know what I mean? Oh man, please. Revenite, you're not getting it from us, man. You guys need to start doing business with Bournemouth and Southampton again. There's no way. I will go outside the club myself and say, do not send that check. Do not send that bank transfer. It's not happening. Sacco here, Holden and Phillips partnership. Let Farke cook. If we get that kind of partnership, that would just tell me that we're finished. We're just happy with defenders that were happy being bench warmers at their former clubs. They wouldn't be able to handle it here. They wouldn't be able to handle it. And you know what? They wouldn't care. They wouldn't care either. I do not want to see that one. Oh, man. Yeah, I know. They always try and flog us their rubbish, bubs. It's the way it goes, I'm afraid. But yeah, let me get this Chopin's Live picture down, man, because it hurts, man. I'm not going to lie. That's my guy. Wish him kind of the best at Liverpool, kind of. But yeah, Phil Hay, I mean, again, I can't really get his article up because it's behind a paywall now. I don't want to risk the copyright thing. But he was just saying in this article about Daniel Farke is waiting to come in. I know there's been rumors of Lebris from Lorient previously. I just didn't believe that anyway. I think it is Farke's job. He's got his backroom staff in. I will say as well, the Farke thing, his backroom staff. I'm disappointed that there isn't a goalkeeping coach mentioned in there, because there seems to be every other kind of assistant and coach in there. We need to get that Marcus Abad out of here. He needs to be done. You know what I mean? He's done. He's no good. I don't know. Hopefully, he's followed Victor Orta back to Sevilla. I don't know. I've not seen if he's still here or not. But I hope that we get a new goalkeeper coach in for one. But yeah, Farke and his backroom staff are waiting. They're just waiting for the green light. This is pretty much done. It's going to be an anticlimax once it's announced. I think it's just going to be more relief than anything, than a celebration or anything else like that. It just means that we can get on with the most important part, which is recruitment. Yeah, Mr. Ripper, Debris was clickbait. I thought that too. I didn't believe. It didn't move me when I read it. I just think it didn't make sense, especially with Farke being pretty much in the hot seat. And and I've used Farke's picture as well, holding a trophy from Norwich, because that's the Farke that I want here at Leeds United. Have to say, Um, yeah, I mean, he's poor. He's clearly a poor goalkeeping coach. Maybe he's good at a certain level, but not for the level that we're on. But yeah, I need that Farke. I need that Farke that's gonna ramp this league, and it's different. I can't stress it enough. It's a different pressure doing it from Norwich to Leeds United. It's not going to be the same. You're not going to be able to probably lose 2 games in a row and not get a nervous, tense crowd at Ellen Road. You probably get it much easier at Carrow Road. He's got to be ready for that. But also, he's got to have the pieces in place. He's got to have his kind of players. And, recruitment wise, Norwich on a shoestring before wasn't the greatest, but he's done okay. He's done okay with recruitment. And that's what we need here. We need okay to good. Um, but yeah, we need him to get his kind of players in, and just to realize that the pressure is going to be 100 times different to what it was at Norwich City. Um, Revenite here, just finishing, I think here. Hope to see you guys in the Prem next season, but those old wasters in your squad need to go. Yeah, listen, Revenite, we try and tell them, but no one listens, man. No one listens till it's too late. And even when it's too late, people still don't listen. It's what happens, isn't it? It's what happens. Some people like pain. Some people like pain. But yeah, let's go on to the latest report, which is sorry. Oh yeah, I saved this one from earlier. Scott Kirkham. What youth players do you want to see this year, KG? Definitely JB. I like what I've seen from JB getting himself ready this season. He looks like he's been putting in the work in the off season to get a little bigger as well. Mateo Joseph definitely has to be at least on the bench, because I do feel like he could go on a run where he's scoring goals off the bench and possibly even becomes a starter. I think he's got that ability at this level. I don't know what's happening with Sonny Perkins if he's going to Sunderland on loan. I think it would be pretty weird considering he's been in the training gear, but that means nothing. They probably did that training gear video pictures about a month ago. But there's some good youth in there. Archie Gray has to come through for me as well, Scott. We've got some really, really highly talented youth players here, as well as the youth in the first team like Nanto, Somerville, if you can keep hold of them. But there's some blocks to build off here. Charlie Creswell, let's see what Diego Montero's like in the first team. He looks like he's been putting in the work too. I've seen as well, Joe Gelhardt looks like he's lost a lot of weight. Hopefully he can keep that off. I always think that's weird with Gelhardt, how he does fluctuate with his weight, but it never really ever gets mentioned around the place. I'm not saying ever like call him, you fat so and so, but he does. He seems to start off well, but then once the season gets settled, he kind of puts the weight back on. But hopefully, this is something new for Joe Gelhardt. He can keep the weight off and be a little bit more athletic as well if he is to stay. Michelle saying here, I'm really hoping that Jaffe smash it. Yeah, that's the thing with Gelhardt. Everything that I said about Gelhardt in our first year back, or was it the second year when we just stayed up the first time? Yeah, it's probably the second year. It still stands. He should have got more game time with the options that we had. Rodrigo wasn't cutting it. Bamford was doing whatever he was doing, but Gelhardt should have got more game time. But I was hoping that the loan to Sunderland would have really seen him like smash it. It didn't quite happen that way. So we need to see now what version of Gelhardt we got here. And I think we're going to find out. I don't see anyone buying him, but maybe that will change as the window goes on. Who knows? Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, he was like a Rooney body style. Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. Yeah, he kind of plays like him too, but yeah, his body shape is kind of like him. And you saw with Wayne Rooney, he was always on that thicker end of it, wasn't he? He was always on that thicker end, especially towards the end of his career. But yeah, it looks good, man. He looks good. He looks like he's really slimmed down. So shout out to him, man. Hopefully he keeps that um, keeps that up. But yeah, Keith Downey here from Sky Sports here, just reporting that Bournemouth and Leeds United are battling out to sign Newcastle goalkeeper Karl Darlow. Borough also showed interest but can't match the wages. Yeah, this is it. I'll go back to that. Darlow has 2 years left on his Newcastle deal and will command a fee. No official bid from either club, but will come soon. And yeah, Karl Darlow, he's been one that seems to be linked with us nearly every year. He's kind of come into like that Adam Lafondra, Billy Sharp kind of realm, hasn't he? But I would absolutely take Karl Darlow. I know he's 32 now, but the thing with Karl Darlow, this is how I think time works for me. I still think of him as that floppy-haired 24-year-old from Nottingham Forest, but obviously, time moves on. But yeah, I think he's an absolutely solid keeper at this level. I absolutely do, and I think he's even got the potential if he keeps up the good work to possibly be a start in the Prem. Now, I would be looking at a better start. I'm not going to lie. Oh, that's another one, people. Oh, that's another one. We're talking about goalkeepers. Livakovic, who was going to be on my list for this summer, 100% was my number one target. Dynamo are negotiating something like a 6 to 8 million fee with Foot to sell him. 8 million for Livakovic is an absolute snip. And whoever gets him, I think it's going to be Fiorentina or one of those kind of teams. Bargain. Top goalkeeper. Top goalkeeper. And we're not even in that conversation. But yeah, Livakovic, 8 million. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was always alluding to. If you remember, if you've been a long-term subscriber, you know I was always alluding to. I think you can sell Melier for 25, 30 before all the mistakes were really starting to be visible, and then get a goalkeeper for around 10. It was Livakovic who I was talking about. So there you go. But yeah, Karl Darlow, he's been linked with us. Bournemouth are obviously in the race, but I think Bournemouth have signed Neto permanently, haven't they? So I don't know if he wants to be on the bench again. I don't know if he wants to do that. I think if he comes here, he's our number one. Even if Melier is staying here, I would play Karl Darlow over Melier. How are you guys feeling in the chat about that? Yeah, Jim. Yeah, Livakovic after Fiorentina for 6 million euros, absolute steal. But that's what you can do when it's clubs like, with all due respect to Dynamo, with those Croatian kind of teams, because 6 million for them probably keeps their club going for another 3 years. 1414 York's is saying, though, don't rate Darlow, been at Newcastle forever and has never made it. Dubrovka, sorry, yeah, much better keeper, wouldn't get him in the championship though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Dubrovka is definitely a better goalkeeper, 100%. But I don't think he, like you say, I don't think he is going to come down to this league unless it's probably Leicester looking at him, maybe. But if he was to go to Leicester, then why wouldn't he come here? But yeah, I think Darlow, I think he's a real good, steady goalkeeper. And I think that's what we need, people. I think we just need someone who is steady. We don't need anybody who's, over the top, flashy, anything like that. Just someone who the defense will trust. And that's been lacking over the past year, hasn't it? So, I mean, Wayne here, though, I'm not convinced with Darlow and feel there's many better keepers out there that we can attract. Yeah, I do too. Definitely, Wayne. Again, once again, just I'm not married that Karl Darlow is the be all and end all of goalkeepers, and if we don't get him, then we're never going to get promoted ever again. But I think it's a good start, and if we could get him, I would have no objections to it. Skip. See, this is where, yeah, I take Skip is saying I take Darlow, but Angus Gunn is free. I don't rate Angus Gunn like that, man. Skip, I think Angus Gunn is probably the English version of Melier, or Scottish version if he's converted. I think he's like Melier to me. I think he's got so many holes in his game. He's never convinced me personally, but yeah, for me, Darlow, I would take over Angus Gunn. Um, let's have a look. Gil, oh yeah, Gil, good point. Yeah, the Hammond link at Newcastle. Yeah, maybe Hammond's probably spoken to Darlow already. Hold on a minute. Yes, it's tough doing this, just speaking about Livakovic and then having to talk about Karl Darlow, but it's the levels we're at, people. It's the levels we're at. But yeah, that's a good point, Gil. The Hammond link at Newcastle possibly makes it easier to acquire him too. I just don't see why as someone said earlier, it's gone up there now, but Bournemouth have got like three goalkeepers. I don't see why he'd go from one bench to another unless it's just the lure of being in the Premier League. But I can see him wanting to play week in, week out. And I think that he'd do that. Sly said, Bread saying, get Perot, he's a baller. I think he's been linked with a Premier League club, Ed. So I think he looks like he's possibly Premier League bound. Uh, Jim, Jim making a little comment here, which is pretty decent. I'll say, if Hammond is shopping at Newcastle, then I can see us going for Lewis as well. Yeah, Jamal Lewis. Game. If you think of Jamal Lewis at championship level, I would take him. I don't think he's Premier League level. I'll say that now. I think he's a little bit too light for the Premier League. But championship level, I would 100% take Jamal Lewis. So yeah, if he's still at Newcastle, I think he might still be there, right, Jim? I would be looking at him too. But Jive here is saying, to be honest, KG Darlow will probably pick Premier League Bournemouth instead of us. We'll see. It all depends on what he wants to do. You just think at 32, this is going to be his last few years of getting first team football. and hopefully he does that. Hopefully he comes to us or wherever he wants to go and gets first team football because I still think he's a capable goalkeeper as well. Pirate House with a super sticker. Thank you so much, Pirate House. Always a big supporter of this channel, man. So salute to you and shout out to you all, as always. And yeah, Andy here saying Gerard has gone to Saudi after saying he wouldn't. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he has gone. It's to the same club as well, isn't it? It's to the same club that I said about a month ago. But I think he's officially gone now. I don't know if it's official, but yeah, he's out the running. Patrick Vieira is at Strasbourg as well. So like the managers are going off the board, which just makes me believe that it is Farke waiting in the wings. Yeah, Bubs. A lot of that Norwich defense were poor in the Prem. Yeah, it's when he moved to Newcastle as well, Bubs. You could tell it wasn't going to work out for him there. I just don't think he's got it in him to be a Premier League defender. I think now Ryan Sessegnon's better than him, but they kind of fall under that same umbrella where they'll probably be too good for the Championship, but just not quite good enough for the Prem. And yeah, he falls under that umbrella for me. But yeah, Ben Godfrey for me is another one of the Norwich defense that had all the hype and promise, but he's just too timid. Even to this day now, he still defends the same way. He looks like, much like Pascal Struijk. They've got big, oh, whoa, whoa. Let me pause there. They've got good statures, they've got good builds, but they're just so indecisive. You know what I mean? That same kind of timid defender. Jason saying after hospital, peace out, guys. Hey, Jason, man, good, all the best for you whatever's happening at hospital, man. Hope you're well. Uh, Sliced bread is saying, would you consider Sam Johnston? Think he recently signed at Palace though? Yeah, I think he has gone to Palace, hasn't he? But yeah, I would have. Yeah, Sam Johnston again at Championship level is a yes from me. Yes from me. I just want a goalkeeper that I can rely on to make a save, keep us in the game. If we've got a lot of the possession and just don't manage to score, we don't get scored on the first opportunity the opposition got, and that happened a lot to us under Bielsa too, by the way. I just want a goalkeeper that I can feel secure behind because I haven't felt it in quite some time. Haven't felt it in a while. And you're not hearing much about Meslier moving out at this point in time. You heard it a lot at the start of the window. Not really hearing too many destinations for Elan Meslier right now. So he could be he could be stuck here. But for me, he can't be number one. I'm sorry. Tasha here saying, KG, what do you think if we start the first game of the season with the old guard playing instead of the younger talent? Do you reckon the atmosphere will be very toxic? I think that the crowd in general will get behind the players because it's a new season. It's a fresh. I mean, it's a fresh league. I think the crowd will get behind them, but I believe the rope will be very, very short. I don't think that it's like with Meslier. If he makes a mistake in the first game, if he's playing in the first game for us and he makes a mistake, you will just hear the crowd go, "Oh, he's still doing it. We're in the Championship and he's still doing it." You always hear that when the life gets sucked out of Ellen Road. You always hear it. So I think that they will get the crowd behind them, but the road will be very short. That's why for me, just play it's not even just about the younger talent, Tasha. It's about the younger, better talent. The talent that have got agility, that can move around, that have got some pace. It's about getting those better players out on the pitch rather than these guys that are just going to stink up the joint. Fergal saying hopefully Ryan Manning comes to Leeds. I saw him linked with Sheffield United recently. Fergal, so there's Premier League interest, and Sheffield United. It's funny. Sheffield United's team have also gone into first team training today. Listen, I believe they've got around 20 million to spend. They've got to make moves. Much like us in this league, if they don't make moves in the Prem, they're coming back into the champ. Some of their players that are still there, they're trying to do what we've done and run it back again. Nah. Oliver Norwood is not a Premier League player. Sheffield United got to do something. But yeah, I think he's on their list as well. So again, let's see what happens there. What I'm hoping, though, people, is that once Farke's announced, I'm hoping that we then get a slew of announcements. I want to see 1, 2, 3, 4 people that have been signed but are just waiting for the official confirmation of Farke and that we announce them. Maybe one, let's do one a day. I'm not greedy. I don't want 4 at the same time. Pause. But one a day. I just think that conversations like that should and will have happened with Daniel Farke being in the wings. you can say to a player, it's definitely going to be him. If it's not him, we won't bother with this contract, and you're free to go elsewhere. But just wait for us if you can. And they will have set a deadline as well to say, if you're not in by the 15th of July, then I'm going to go elsewhere, and that would be fair enough. You know what I mean? Because we're on the third now, and we should really be more advanced than this. But it's where we are, people. Um, Gil saying, I want 20. I said, I'm not greedy. Gil saying he wants 20 signings. I would love it too, Gil, but it's just, I don't think it's realistic at this point. I think that it's going to have to be a steady flow in and out, because at this point in time as well, just to update on the Robin Koch thing as well, which was something that I was trying to tell people before, but I think people was just stuck on there being no fee. But he's possibly moving out to Frankfurt or somewhere like that on loan, but then his contract's up next summer. So that means he will be leaving on a free transfer. And I think that's what the earlier articles were saying. I know that some journalists were trying to rubbish them, but it made sense. If he's moving out on loan and he's not signing a new contract, then next summer he's gone on a free. So that's essentially what that meant. So Robin Koch, he's looking to play at a higher level. All right, mate. But yeah, he's looking to move on a high level, and Leeds want his wages off the book anyway. And that's off the books, and that's via Phil Hayes' article. Sly said, Ed is saying here, would you say Broja on loan from Chelsea? Yeah, 100%. In the championship, Broja? 100%. I know he had a bit of a bad injury last season, but yeah, 100. Broja? Yeah. In the championship, I think he'd be a six signing, not gonna lie. I mean, a lot of people here, yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking, Lee. He has delusions of grandeur. But listen, I don't criticize him for that. If you feel that you're better than the level that you're at, cool, that's fine. But it would have been nice to have seen some evidence of that for us on the pitch, wouldn't it? But hey, is what it is. Down here saying, what about Keenan Davis from Villa if they keep Archer now? Not for me, Davis. Um, I want a striker that can score goals, and Davis is decent, but he's more like a target man, battering ram up front. I want someone who can stick the ball in the net. I'm tired of strikers that don't score goals. Tired of it. I mentioned earlier about Mark Viduka, Harry Kewell when he got moved up front. I'm talking about goal scorers, people. Not interested in the target man. Really not. If Farke wants one of those and sees fit, that's cool. But I think you've seen with him before with like players like Pookie and all these guys, he likes goal scorers too. So I'm hoping that we'll stay along the realm of what he's done before. Um, RP here saying, incredible that our club has been run so poorly, yet cheap perpetrator or gets a good new job. Yeah. I mean, even Brendan Aronson, again, just quickly touch on Brendan Aronson. He's possibly out on loan as well. He didn't return to training today, and he could be going to Union Berlin, RP. And where Union Berlin going to be next season, people? The Champions League. It's amazing how it goes, isn't it? It's only football, people. Only football can you be. And listen, again, I always have to give Brendan Aronson some slack because he should have had around 10 assists, at the start of the season. But in the end, he ended the season very poorly, very meekly, and he's going to possibly get Champions League football next season. Amazing how it goes, isn't it? Genghis Khan's mum saying, youngsters over the old guard for me too, young and fit with pace, ambition, skill, and they don't come off smiling, unlike some of the old guard when they lose. And you know what, as well, Genghis Khan's mum, they've got no fear. They play with no fear. They don't feel bogged down by the old expectations of old criticisms that have been leveled at them. They'll be playing with absolute freedom, and that's what we need as well in the championship. Anybody who's not going to be fully committed, hey, they're going to have to go. They're going to have to go or not be a part of this team because we've already had enough people shrinking on the pitch. And again, I hate to mention it again, the game against Spurs saw so many people hiding on that pitch. It was a disgrace. No, we need to get in better players and use some of our better youngsters too. John Knox just mentioned Sinistera here, who's been linked with Milan, but I think there's going to be something there where they possibly can't have him because he'll count as a foreign player. So maybe that will work in our favor. But yeah, again, Sinistera, I kind of not mentioned Sinistera and even Jack Harrison because there's no real links apart from that Milan one for Sinistera. There's no real links for a move away. And those two players, I think, could be very, very useful in the championship. So I'm trying to just make them fade in the background by not mentioning them too much. You know, one of them. I don't want them to pop up in the club's algorithm or something like that. But yeah, you know, again, listen, I'm not saying they're the be all and end all, but I think they'd be very helpful, especially Sinistera. Imagine Sinistera in the champ. Lovely. Uh, okay, need another sip of water. Can tell I haven't done this in a few days. Mouth's getting dry. Tasha here saying any player that wants to go out on loan can, for me, can do one. If they don't want to play for us in the championship, don't want them in the Prem, assuming we get there. Oh God, it all depends. It all depends because sometimes at the same time as the player needing to go out or wanting to go out, it can be the club that tells the player to go out as well. So it could be a case of somewhere, you know, say like a Jorginho Rutter, where they don't want him playing in the championship on his wages. They'll probably say to him, "Go back to Hoffenheim, and if we come back up, we'll then take you on again." Sometimes it does work that way, but if in the terms of what you're talking about, 100%. Listen, any player like the ones that have been linked with moves away, Llorente, Koch, Aronson, all these kind of guys, I don't want to see them again at Leeds United anyway. So when we go back up, we need to do the right things and make sure that we get rid of them for transfer fees, or in Robin Koch's case, let him go on a free and say, see you later. I don't want to see a lot of these guys again anyway. I honestly, I tell you all the time, people, I can't put into words just how much I dislike so many of these players. I can't put it into words because they banned me for 6 months. They will ban me for 6 months. So I just can't say it, but I'll be so happy to see the back of quite a few of them. Not gonna lie. Um, Ed is asking here, who's in the better stead to come back up, Leicester, Leeds, or Southampton? It's a tough one. I mean, at the moment, you would say Leicester just because they've got a few more things in order. But I don't think it's guaranteed for them. Like I say, I don't think that the signings move the needle so much, especially Harry Winks for 10 million. Good God. I would not be pleased if Leeds did that for 10 million. I'm telling you that for a fact now. I don't know. It could be even be a club that's already in the championship and could possibly who missed out previously and could go for a surge this season. We don't know. All I know, Ed, is that this club, the way it is right now, is not in the condition to go up automatically. I'll say that anyway. This team is not top two in this league at this point in time. Not for me anyway. That's just my opinion. Let me just say that I'm not speaking for anyone else. That is my opinion. Uh yeah, Josh G. Ryan Giles is a good shout. Left back was class for Borough on loan from Wolves. Yeah, that is another good one. Exactly. Just like Jamal Lewis, I think Ryan Giles is in that category as well, where he's possibly not going to make it Prem level. But yeah, Championship, he's good. He's got a wicked cross on him as well. Josh, I'm sure you would have seen him as well. Knows how to put in a low cross that finds his man. So yeah, Ryan Giles. There's so many players out there, people. Look, I always try and say to people, don't get married to the players that we get linked to. So now we're linked with Karl Darlow. There'll be some fans that will say it's Karl Darlow or bust. There are so many players out there that can help us. It's just about recruiting the right ones. Why are arguments for Megan Fox in the chat? What's going on here? What's going on? But yeah, Josh, Leicester paid 10 million for Winks. That's for me, that's just not good business. It really isn't. It's not good business. I just don't see what they're hoping to achieve with that. He's so ordinary. He reminds me of so many midfielders that have played football over the past 10 years, where they get ratings, they get kudos for working hard or making a simple 5-yard pass. I'm sorry, that don't move me one bit. Not one bit. Just average players, man. Um, and Stephen, yeah, Stephen saying players are going to want to get themselves sorted very quickly. We're going to miss out on the best ones if we wait much longer. Great, it's 100%. It's what I said earlier, Stephen. We could possibly have 4 signings already, just waiting in the background once the green light is lit. But if we don't do it by a certain date, they will say, "Sorry, we can't take the risk. We're going to be moving on," and they'd be well within their rights to do that. But yeah, that's why I'm saying 3rd of July. It's terrible that we're still at this stage for me, people. There's being patient, but then it's like we need to get moving. If our team was in better shape, seriously, if our team was in better shape, I wouldn't be worried so much. but I need this to be a 1 year loan deal. And that goes back to something in this Keith Downing tweet. I knew I left it up for some reason. But Borough also showed interest but can't match the wages. This is what we have to this is what we have to avoid staying in this league for, because we've only got this for possibly 2 years, and I don't even want to see it a second year. But as the parachute payments disappear, the quality of your squad goes down, and the money that you receive in parachute and everything else comes down with it as well. And we'd be working back with where we can't compete with relegated teams going for certain players, and we'll have to just sit out of it, much like Middlesbrough doing here for Karl Darlow. And with all due respect to Karl Darlow, he's not exactly the tippy top of a pile of players that you would wish to get. So this is what we have to avoid. That's why it's so important we go back up at the first time of asking. But yeah, we just have to see. Just have to see, people. Is there anything else before we head on out of here? Let me just see if anything's been announced. We've just gone past 5 o'clock GMT. Let me just see if Twitter will allow me, if I haven't gone past my limit. Crazy stuff, man. And in saying that as well, Instagram is the best way to follow me anyway. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, go follow me there. Same name as here, KG Vision. You know how it goes. Is there anything else? No, nothing's been announced yet. So it's as we were. I've seen one of my teams though, people, in ice hockey, the Penguins are making moves. That has been pretty nice to see. At least one of my teams has been making moves. So yeah, I've got one thing to celebrate. Although we did give a questionable contract out, but is what it is. Always get that in ice hockey. Always. Um, let's have a look. Has anyone else got any last minute thoughts they want to get off their chest before we exit? Shout out to you, Josh, man. 2 a.m. in Australia. Shout out to you for watching at this time. I really appreciate that. Anything else? No. Okay. Anything else in the comments? Oh, Lang, you must be new. Yes, yes. Penguins. That is my team. Has been for a long, long time. So yes, big Penguins fan. Their losses hurt me as much as Leeds United's do. Their losses really cut me deep. And when we missed the playoffs last season, missing the playoffs last season, um, Leeds United getting relegated, it's just been a bad year for sports for me. So hopefully this year will be different. Now, Dow, I might have to put you in timeout for this, Dow. Not gonna lie, I might have to put you in timeout for this. Up the Flyers, up the Flyers. Come on now. Scott here saying, good to catch live, KG, take it easy. Yeah, listen, I'm hoping to be back more frequently. I'm hoping that we're going to get more news. It's as I said at the start, though. I just, no matter what, I always come into these things in the summer thinking what I can do. And shall I just talk about any and anything that's been, made up on Wacko or Twitter? But I just can't do it, people. I'll be lying to you and I'll be lying to myself, and you'll see right through me. So I'm not going to talk about anything unless there's news to talk about. So at this point, it has been a bit difficult to get stuff out because there's literally been nothing for 4 or 5 days since the Nat Phillips stuff. So, but hopefully there'll be stuff now, 3rd of July. Hopefully we're getting stuff done and I can be back more frequently. So that's what I love to do. And I love seeing you guys in the chat and leaving your comments and everything as well. So yeah. But yeah, listen, people, thank you for tuning in. Smash the like before you go. Please do that. Best way to support the channel. Drop your comments and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'll be back in the next one, people. Peace out.